up, I've got Airborne here. Want to know how long, say, Bead Maker would last? Because it says long-lasting shine. How long do you expect it to last?
Well, Airborne, that Airborne, that depends on where you're at and how you're caring for it.
Yes.
If you're putting it on your car and then 3 days later you're running it through an automatic car wash, there's a potential that it may not last. If you're putting it on Air Force One and it's sitting under cover,
Open walls,
and it's
but a cover over top.
hanging out, and it's not seeing a lot of stuff, it's going to be all right. If it's going on your car that maybe you drive, maybe it's your fun car, or say something like the Rag Cobra that doesn't really get out all that often, it's going to last as long as it needs to.
I'd love to get Gordon's input on this. So I've got an STI 2019 that I drive hard. I drive and I live in the mountain community. It's driven year round. I use so it's coated now. It's coated. The car's coated with Legend, with Soul over the top of that, and then Bead Maker off the top. I use, after every wash, I use Bead Maker as a drying agent, and I literally don't have to put Bead Maker back on. Just even a light dose like that, is it just stays constant. So if you're not doing that, you're hand washing it at home. A couple 2-3 months. Is reality. If you're beating it up, as Levi said, it's going to be less. But you've got it. I mean, your Porsche. What's on the 911? What are you getting longevity wise?
Really long, because the car doesn't see a lot of UV. It spends most of its time inside. I drive it a lot, but it's garaged even during the day at work. So it holds up a long time. I mean, that car was coated 2 years ago, and I think every time I wipe it down, I do use Bead Maker just because I like the smell of it and it works good, right?
Can't blame you for that. That's my favorite.
So that's kind of an extreme case of something that potentially lasts years, and that's not exaggerating, right? So I'd say everywhere from 3 days, Levi, running it through a nasty car wash, to years. So just figure out where you land in the use of your car in between there.
It's really a dream maker of a product.
The one point we always try and make with people is, like you said, using it as a drying agent. If you're using it with every wash, maybe it's a car that gets washed every week or two. It lasts forever. Technically, you just keep replacing it, but at the same time, it's not really. People get hung up on longevity, and I find that's often something people get lost on it when it's really not the most important thing to be concerned about. User experience, the other factors, how well it protects from sunlight, the UV protection offers. There's a lot of benefits to it.
There are.
So.
I use it all the time because I want my car to stay cleaner and easier, and I'm lazy.
Well, and I'd rather smell it than almost any other product too. So there's that.
There's that.
And I'll chime in here real quick. So a lot of what I do in my shop is primarily using Bead Maker as my sealant. That's what all of my customers get. And so I think it's really important to know what is under what you're putting it on. So whether you're putting it on a coating or a brand new paint or really abused paint, dry paint. So primarily in my shop, I always clay the car and use Bead Maker. And Renny and Gordon, I had the pleasure of having them up to my shop last night, and they got to help me on a car. And the car that we had was a brand new Escalade last summer, and came straight to me, did not have any other protection on, totally decontaminated the car, clayed it, then put Bead Maker on it. And this was 8 months ago, and there was still...
I asked her, I said, wow, this car, because I didn't know she had worked on it before, and I asked her, I said, man, somebody put something on this vehicle because it's still shedding the water pretty good. And she goes, well, and then she tells me the story.
It's only Bead Maker.
Really slick.
Only Bead Maker. So I think that is a testament that, if you have it prepped right and the paint's in good condition and you're caring for it, and in that 8 months, it's had nothing done to it. And I see that all the time, because I usually see a lot of my cars back every 6 to 8 months, and a good amount of them come back with, you can still tell there's something on there. So I think that's important, is what is it going on top of? What's the substrate?